Hello.
Let's see what happens today.
Hello. How does the audio sound?
Oh well, it sounds fine.
It's coming out of the phone for me. So I've got all this stuff and it's just not working.
Yeah. I think we probably need to change to like some proper gear or some shit. I don't know. Fuck it.
Stop doing
Fuck it.
Instagram.
Nah. I think.
As it is.
I think I'm gonna switch eventually to the earbuds, and then that's that. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's what I've done.
We will see how the final sound is gonna sound like. At least from my end. I mean, you do hear me now, so I'm guessing one of the mics is recording something. I just don't know which one it is.
It's definitely the phone.
You think it's the phone?
100%. There's definitely like room noise that I can hear.
Okay. I don't know. It's weird.
We're just gonna have to swap to actually doing it properly with actual, with our actual microphones. And what is going on there? Oh man, ugh. Like a grandma.
Who knows? No, because it's like if if I tap this, do you hear it on your headphones now? On your earpods? Do you hear anything?
No.
If I do this,
yeah,
then it is recording. The good one is recording actually.
Oh, god damn it!
Ching, 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 ching.
It just sounds very roomy. Well, that's fine then, as long as it's working for someone.
It's not. I mean, it's not like €1,000 microphone anyway, but it's really good. Exactly, it's a dead cat. Yeah. So.
It didn't work for me. I didn't get any sound, so I think it might be the dongle thing. I don't.
Yeah, I told you it's like it's pretty. The fucking thing is like pretty tricky. Like it is something. It is something different. But yeah, fuck it. Oh well, right. We live.
Let me get this up on the pooter.
Yeah, on the big screen. I'm gonna get it on mine as well.
There we go. But, thanks. I re-dyed. Well, I didn't re-dye it. I went to the hairdresser and got it re-dyed recently. But I haven't washed it for a couple of days, so it's looking a bit questionable.
Oh, unless you're going for that Rastaman vibration vibe thing. You're gonna make like some jives. What is it called?
I just need to wash it, really.
Okay. Oh well. I tried to open up the live on my screen on the computer, but apparently I'm still not in live mode. So let's see.
Wait. Let me just adjust a bit. There we go.
Right,
God, are we set? So I don't need this mic in front of me. I don't even need this thing connected, but it's charging the phone, so I'll keep it connected.
That's great. I have good enough battery as well, which is really nice too. I actually
this setup that I've got allows me, as you heard from the video that I sent you, I can actually record decent audio into like Instagram videos and stuff. So there's a win there somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, not everything is a total waste of money, but
no, exactly.
Because at the end of the day, you never really know where you're gonna, use the dead cat.
Well,
it might definitely come in handy at some point.
Well, I tried it on its own with the one that the dongle that comes with the iPhone, and it didn't work with that either.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Oh
so
well.
I have to get a fancy one like yours, even though I'm pretty sure it's TTRRS or whatever it is. But...
Yes, that TTRRS. That's the thing that you need to get.
I know, but I thought it was because it works with the dumb little like fucking. This silly karaoke microphone. It works with that, and that's exactly the same connection. Is
it?
Yeah, I could plug it in right now and you'll hear me talk through this, but I'm not going to talk for the entire podcast with a tiny karaoke microphone.
But you're definitely missing those tiny hands. Like I told you, like if you get a set of tiny hands and then you can hold it like that in front of you with your tiny hands, I'll get a pair as well. And then we can sit like that. We can do the whole fucking podcast like this. I don't even care. Oh man, it's been a couple of weeks. Nothing really crazy. I think from the tea perspective, like there's not so much drama happening this week. I mean, there is some how should I say, there is some warmed up food or re-warmed up food again. I think there was like I saw a couple of mentions on Twitter about lo-fi fruits and stuff like that. People discovering their. It's really funny how I see some, let's say, new people, let's say, or let's say new faces on the genre discovering lo-fi fruits.
Well, I think it's more that they're discovering their latest endeavor.
Yeah. But it's really great. It's really great, really, because I think our, let's say, a couple of generations of producers before, we were these generations were low-key oblivious to whatever anything might actually mean. I mean, there were some people, including ourselves, that actually use half of their brains to understand like what's the problem with somebody called Lo-Fi Fruits using a watermelon and avocado as a logo. But then there's like other people who just saw numbers, potential cash, engagement and shit like that, and just went for it, and then found out they found out how shitty that was the wrong way or the right way. I don't know. Depends on how you see it. But it was definitely a lot of fun. And I thought that I think in that tweet thing that I got myself involved in, like, well, just basically stated the obvious. Like, I welcomed that person who discovered that new scam to the whole lo-fi drama, and I even saw a couple of mentions of UChill, but I haven't really I didn't really had the time to read through, like, oh, there was like a mention and somebody actually subtweeted them. I was like, oh, that's cool. I think I know these guys. So, it was interesting. It was interesting to see. I think I'll probably dig on that a little bit deeper tonight, because it was like because that post actually, let's just see. I think we need to give a shout out to the person who actually put it out first. It's not.
Surrounded by shit. I'm just surrounded by all of these gadgets and cables from us trying to get this to work properly.
Oh god.
And I'm just like, oh, okay.
What is it?
Well, so
what is it? Sloya. I think we can pronounce it Sloya roll. Sloya.
Yeah.
Sloya roll. Yeah, he came up with that. Like, he pointed it out, and then it got low key viral. Like, if you think about it, it's like about 500 likes, 83 reposts, 65 tweets. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I feel a bit bad because I don't know who he is. Like, I've never seen him before. I mean, I don't even follow him. Yeah, I mean, I'm now, but oops. Shout out to him. Shout out to Sloya roll.
Yeah, I think the issue that he was mostly raising, though, was that they are so this whole thing that they are doing with the 30+ second like album is like 100. It's an album, or is it? No, it's an album, isn't it? Not a playlist.
It's a fixed playlist.
A fixed playlist with 100 songs, each totaling around about 31 or 32 seconds.
Yeah.
And the reason they're doing that is because that triggers the payment, essentially. That's how when Spotify pays out. That's when Spotify recognized that you have played a song and the artist will receive royalties for that.
Exactly.
This isn't the first time that an artist or a musician has kind of cashed in on that. I think, was it Wolfpack? They released an album of silence that was 30 seconds long, and they actively said, just put it on while you sleep, and we can.
Just listen to it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So this stems back from a long time ago. Fun fact: Spotify have since removed that album.
Yes, exactly.
So what they're doing is they're just playing the system.
Yeah.
Which I'm in the camp of, if that was me, I'd be like, yeah, chill. Fuck Spotify. I'm playing the system, whatever. But exactly. Because it's not me, I'm very much like, this could fuck everything. Because essentially, Rolling Stone have written about it that Strange Fruits are currently better, like bigger than Lady Gaga in terms of
Yeah.
like stream revenue, and
Yeah.
that's because of this 30-second track album.
Yeah.
Of, you know, 100-track album is 30 seconds.
Yeah.
The problem we have here is we sit within a genre where tracks exceed no more than maybe 2 minutes.
2 minutes, yeah.
On average, you know, lo-fi tracks are a minute to 1 minute 30. If Spotify were to see this as an issue and decide to switch up their minimum play time,
yeah,
it could completely fuck the lo-fi genre.
Everybody's dead in the water.
Exactly. if they decide to say, you know, because on average, a typical, let's say like pop track, because, you know, that's the biggest, you know, that's maybe 3 to 4 minutes long.
Yes.
If they take that into account and say, do you know what, let's make the minimum threshold 2 minutes. We're fucked. We are absolutely boned.
Yeah,
like there is. Let's see if I could get to my Spotify to see if I'd actually earn. See if I'd earn any money at all.
Yeah.
I know for the most part mine average a little over 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have one. I think it was maybe 1 minute 30. And if that is the case, you know, I'm boned. I won't earn anything. And I think this is the same for okay, my top tracks are average about 2.5 minutes, so I'm safe with those.
Yeah.
But I know there's some that release like, you know, 50-second beats, like 1 minute 20 beats.
I've definitely put some shit like that down as well, like less than 2 minutes.
Yeah. And there are also classical works under 30 seconds out there. Yes, agree. No, I like this.
Agree. Yeah. Of course.
The grand scheme of things, Spotify is going to look at what earns them the most money, and they will look at Drake. They will look at Lady Gaga. They will look at you know, whoever the fuck else is popular, Justin Bieber, whatever, and they will see the payoffs of upping this time limit. They won't really care about those classical artists that have 30-second tracks. They won't care about. I mean, we've maybe heard whispers that Spotify doesn't necessarily care that much about lo-fi, so they're not. Mr. Boardman isn't going to sit there and be like, yes, but what about these very niche genres that have tracks less than 30 seconds?
Yeah.
They won't care. They'll be like, what's going to earn us the most money?
Exactly.
If that means they have to up the limit to 2 minutes, or even a minute and a half, that's going to do them more favors, because they're going to have to pay out less.
Yeah. Let me just say this though. There's not just because you mentioned a couple of times, a few times, that there's like some sort of like a time limit at that 30 second. That's the rule of thumb. However, you earn money with less than 30 seconds as well with play. It's not just it goes in a different category of royalty, I guess. Or it's like if let's say you win like 1 cent, this is like figuratively speaking, of course. Yeah. If 30 seconds of stream gives you 1 cent, then under 30 seconds might give you like, I don't know,
like
half a cent, or like a third of a cent or something like that. So there's always like there's levels to it. Like the thing is, like, as soon as something starts streaming, you get something, but when the stream is 30 seconds or more, then you get the full royalty. Below 30 seconds, it's something else. I don't think there's like levels to that. Like you get a third of a cent, let's say, for 10 seconds, or a little bit more from 20, whatever. I think it's like a fixed number. The fun part in that is that some distributors do pay this out, some others don't.
Right.
And going through royalties and stuff, the past couple of months with another really good friend of mine, we noticed some sort of, let's just say, I wouldn't call it discrepancy, but there's like a difference in the sense of like, for the same amount of streams, that person might pay you this and that person might pay you that. You know, a track that has maybe the same more or less virality, the same more or less duration or whatever, but that difference, I think we narrowed it down by discussing with all these different distributors that it's exactly that. Like some distributors don't release that below 30-second streaming revenue to you, and one of them allegedly is DistroKid.
Right.
Like if anybody would wonder like how DistroKid makes money, this would definitely make a lot of sense if you think about it. So, but yeah, it's like it's super funny. Definitely, of course, like if you want to be in the healthy side of royalty, then you definitely need to have like at least 30 seconds of play time on any of your tracks. But you're 100% correct. Like if they decide to, move this up.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I would put that thought in the wishful thinking tank. Like I would fucking love that to happen. Let's just get the fuck out of this genre before it gets completely destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's heading that way anyway. But you are right. Depending again where streams come from, it depends on how much you get paid as well.
Yes,
like Spotify has tiers in terms of like geographical location, and
yes,
this could put us into a very interesting topic of conversation that we've spoken to a million times before, which is playlists that also get a lot of streams from these lower tier countries, because the ad spend also costs a lot less as well. So if you ever jump on a playlist and you find that most of your streams are coming from let's say India, for example, or Brazil. So that's based purely on the cost of a premium subscription as well. So you've got your free Spotify, you have your premium Spotify, and depending on where you are in the world, that will either cost more or less. You can get in a Bangladesh Spotify account, I think will cost you about $2. That's a premium Spotify account. It'll cost you $2. The same for like maybe Brazil or Indonesia, and that sort of thing.
Turkey's pretty cheap as well. If you have a VPN, you can. If you have a VPN, and you can do it.
Apple Music, they do pay more, but apparently they promise to pay out a cent per stream, but I don't think that's actually happening at the minute. I saw a news article, I think, a little while ago that they were doing a cent per stream, which would be nice, but I don't think they do. But all of the different, the best one for payouts is Tidal.
But nobody listens to Tidal in the sense of like, but of course, like how should I say though, like, because I've been in a lot of funny discussions myself. Everyone was like, let's support like Tidal, which is they pay more and blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, dude, when Spotify started, they would pay a fuck ton of money as well. And then eventually more and more people join the platform. Of course, the royalties are going to drop. They're not going to be paying you the same amount of money. Like, so if, let's say, in an imaginarily parallel universe, half of the Spotify user base jumps to Tidal tomorrow. So Tidal has, I don't know, what's the number for Spotify users across the globe? Like 300 million or something? Yeah, it's a lot. Like so let's say it's like 100 million people with Tidal premium accounts and all that. This is an extremely amazing parallel universe there. Within a couple of months, you're going to definitely see some scaling down when it comes to royalties, and they're going to end up paying the same amount of money that Spotify pays you too. I mean, which is like with every other streaming platform out there. And because I think Kyle is talking about it on the comments, it's like and you mentioned, of course, Tidal is the one that pays the most. And then I think Napster falls into that category as well.
Napster's low. Actually, no, you're correct. They pay 0.19 cent a stream.
And then there's definitely Apple Music is one of the most high paying ones. And Kyle is correct. They do pay more or less double than what Spotify gives you. Definitely the one that pays less is YouTube.
YouTube is the worst.
Yeah. And let's just say, I wouldn't say YouTube, because there's like, people need to understand that there's YouTube and there's YouTube Music. These are two different animals that live in the same cage called YouTube.
Yeah. I believe YouTube Music is what replaced Google Play, which they were just under Apple Music according to this chart
but,
that I'm looking at now.
And it was completely funny because I don't even know, like, I don't even know who played stuff from Google Music or Google Play, or this was like pretty interesting. But as just like any other, let's say, Google product, it more or less gets cannibalized after 3-4 years of living.
Yeah.
So
they just eat it up. No, I
exactly.
think a little while ago when I was like heavy into the Google ecosystem, like I had a Chromebook, I had an Android phone. I did used to use Google Music because what they allowed you to do was essentially upload your entire MP3 music collection.
That was really nice. Yeah, I did that too.
But then they just recognize it and replace it, you know, with like
the release.
So
yeah, exactly.
that was good. And then they started charging for premium, which wasn't so good. But by that point, I'd moved over to Spotify. And you know, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Nobody knows for certain what everyone does. As well, it's broken down even further depending on what account you have. If you guys look through your royalty statements, you'll see that you've got free Spotify, premium Spotify, and then family plans.
Yes.
Which again, so you've got 3 different tiers, full stop, and then you've got 3 different tiers in every single region that Spotify is in with its own royalty system, and it's ridiculous.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
No, the whole thing, and I think what we're definitely going to be seeing the next few years, we're definitely going to be seeing more of these. There's going to be streaming platforms popping up.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's trying to get a piece of the pie. There's enough pie for everybody. However, you know, the largest chunks are divided between the, let's say, major players like Spotify and Apple Music. A lot of, like, what YouTube Music has been making a lot of strides. I gotta give them that. Like, YouTube Music has been all over the place, and their algorithm to this point for me it works a lot better in the sense of, like, when you have something, let's say you upload something on your personal artist YouTube channel, this is definitely going to spill over to your artist profile or your topic profile if you haven't claimed it yet, and it works like really well. And the suggestions that you get and all of that, this is more or less relevant to exactly what you should be listening. They haven't really been tapping into the playlisting thing yet, which I personally think it's a good thing, and they should just live that thing out and not touch it at all. I have myself made playlists on my YouTube channel, and surprisingly, they actually go well. Like, there's people actually listening to these playlists. Now, the only problem is that they're the most primitive. YouTube has the most primitive playlist system ever. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, it's a fucking chore, like, to have like a playlist with 50 tracks, let alone, like, I don't know, 100 or 150. Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, maybe they could invest a little bit of, you know, time in how to, you know, allow people to organize them more and edit them a little bit faster than just that crap. But
there are tools out there that you can use. I mean, I use that tunemymusic.com website to import Spotify playlists onto Deezer. You can do it for YouTube as well. It searches for the tracks on YouTube. I mean, you can do it for pretty much every platform.
It's the one that I'm using. What is it called?
The one that you shared with me.
Yeah, the one that I shared with you. Yeah, on the one that's on iOS.
Yeah, that didn't work for me.
On YouTube, it doesn't work at all. Like, I tried to connect it to YouTube to, you know, make a new playlist. It does create the new playlist. However, out of, let's say, the 150 tracks, it only finds 10. Yeah. And if you go, you know, yourself manually start searching for the stuff, you will find it eventually. But it's not working at all, sadly.
This is, again, I've said this before in previous podcasts as well. This is something I've noticed a lot with a lot of producers, is that they won't put their tracks on every single platform. And that just boggles my mind. Especially when I'm importing my Lo-Fi Cake playlist over to Deezer. Most of the time, it only gets, I think, maybe 97 to 98 of the tracks. There's always 1 or 2 missing, and I'm just like,
oh, really?
Why?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen any misses with Deezer. I've seen a bunch with Apple, actually. like stuff that's on Spotify, they cannot, I don't know, the app doesn't find them on Apple for some reason. I haven't really double checked to see if there's like, we discussed about before, if there's like, if people make the tracks available on Apple or not. But I think when it comes to lo-fi, Apple Music specifically is more strict when it comes to copyright and stuff. And I know from a fact there's been a lot of music from people that exists on all the other platforms, but it's been taken down from Apple Music due to copyright reasons.
Yeah.
Which makes perfect sense. But yeah, overall, it's like it's an interesting. There's not a perfect tool out there to put it that way. To if you wanna, I wouldn't say curate, but make sure that the playlist that you curate, let's say on Spotify, because that's where everybody's curating their playlist most of the time, is more or less updated across all the other platforms. There would be definitely discrepancies. I mean, sometimes I would always say I just fucking give up. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna leave like the Apple Music playlist not the way it is for like a month or two or something, because again, there's no tangible data coming from there in the sense of like, is anybody following that? I mean, to this day, and I've been doing that shit for like 4 or 5 years now, I have not seen streams that come from my playlists on Apple Music. Mm-hmm. So, and I know that people are listening to them and following them. Like, you get a notification from Apple Music, like, oh, that person followed your playlist. Great.
Yeah.
But it's like zero. I know other people who have playlists, and it would appear in I think the locations tab or whatever, or by tracks by playlist or whatnot. It would appear there, but mine, they don't appear.
No.
So I find it like bizarre.
Yeah, I've not seen your playlist on mine either.
Exactly.
So
maybe nobody's listening.
I don't know.
It's like all the basic stuff is checking out. It is public. Yeah. Like they are available through my profile. There was something that I came across, I think a couple of years ago. If you are on, let me just open it up as well, so I'm not bullshitting. I'm gonna fire up my Apple Music, or let's say my iTunes, because that's what it is. I'm gonna fire so I'm on my iTunes, and on the left hand side you see your playlist, and if you right click on one of the playlists, there's an option that says publish playlist.
Yeah.
And there's you can choose the artist that you manage, or let's say that the artists that are managed through that profile. For me, I manage my own artist, Pueblo Vista, and Paul Gilmore, which is like my other alias for my techno shit. and you can say publish, and apparently it gets published. So every time that when you type Pueblo Vista, then you're gonna see like not only the releases but the playlists.
Yeah.
Under that artist, like. Again, I've tried this in the past, but what it actually does is like it removes your playlist from your library and puts it indefinitely there in these published playlists world. So you lose it from your profile technically. So you would have to, I don't know, duplicate it, I guess.
Because it's so backwards.
Yeah, it seems like so weird. It's as if like, imagine like you're Spotify. So we all have our user accounts where we make our playlists, and then you decide to have a playlist for your artist, but at least on Spotify, you can add it on the specific sections, the artist playlist, whatever. But on Apple, the way this happens is like, it kind of like takes it from your library, it puts it on your artist, and then that's it. And then if somebody, finds your profile, your user profile, they won't see this playlist at all. So you kind of like potentially be losing, you might be losing potential listeners or followers or whatever that way.
It seems weird.
Yeah. I did it and I canceled it, and then it's a clusterfuck.
Yeah, I might jump into Apple Music and see if I can try and make sense of it. Saturn wants to know where your techno stuff is.
Yeah, my techno shit.
Just ignore that.
Yeah, just ignore that, guys. Yeah.
No, but kind of, we've strayed from the past just ever so slightly, which is fine. But yeah, this whole thing with Strange Fruits is just, once again, someone. You can call it that, or it's just someone ruining something for everyone else for the sake of for the sake of profit. But then you know, rules and regulations come into place because people like that exist. You know, we wouldn't have the warnings on our coffee cups that the content is hot if it isn't for the people that spill it on themselves in soup McDonald's. You know?
Exactly. I don't know.
You've got to think all of those all of those warning signs or you know, they exist because at one point somebody did what they're warning against.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, how should I say? I wouldn't, because I've been I don't know, dwelling the past couple of weeks in my head. Me being in the situation where, you know, we're moving away from that big major label. We're gonna go, you know, getting our shit together back again, figuring things out, returning to some sense of normality again and stuff like that. So like, there's a lot of shit in my head, you know, going through. I'm trying to figure out advertisements and how to push my shit out there and make sure that I just spam everybody's feeds and the stories with Pueblo Vista and like how everybody should follow the playlist or fucking die or whatever. So I've been thinking about a lot of that stuff, like, you know, lo-fi fruits, schmo-fi fruits, whoever. That, yeah, is this what they do shitty? Yes. Does this have does this affect, let's say, smaller artists or upcoming artists badly? Yes. Can this fuck up the algorithm or the perception of an outsider in terms of like the genre, how the genre is what's happening there? Also. Mm-hmm. Does it make money for a commercial business? Yes. So, might not be the most popular opinion, but I don't necessarily think that this is bad in the sense of, good for him, you know, Stevie, whatever, you know, that's his name, Steve. Like, Steve is back on it with you know, his usual shit. However, like, I don't think that it's him who's thinking about that stuff. It's probably like a team of experts who does that, which is great. But at the end of the day, you got to think that, you know, it's more or less like a corporate environment, and it's a commercial business, and guy wants to make money. Good for him, and this is what he does. And the way that I'm saying I don't necessarily disagree with this tactic is that at the end of the day, a lot of us, and I include myself as well, we do think about the monetary benefits of what we do. Some of us, you know, some people think about it 100%, like Stevie or whoever's behind that stuff. Other people that you and me might think it a lot less. Maybe it's like 50 for me and 30 for you. Maybe it's like 60 for you and 10 for me. Whatever, you know, it comes with scales again. But if any motherfucker comes again and tells me like, oh, I don't do this for the money, fuck you. When you tell me that, oh, let's, you know, I spent X and Y, Z amount of money for this and that, and I want to find a good label to release my music and blah, 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 and I don't know what not. You're definitely thinking about money, whether you like it or not, a little bit, because you would like to recoup some of the monetary investment of what you did. So that's why I said, like, it's not necessarily bad in the sense of like, what that fucking huge thing happened again with, you know, Lo-Fi Fruits a while ago, where all these producers who have been releasing with them, they came out like, nah, they fucked me up, nah, I'm exposing everybody. Well, their business was really simple. We put you in a playlist. You start with a -$1,000 deficit. As soon as you make up that $1,000, which is marketing purpose, they just take you out of the playlist.
Yeah.
Which it's ingenious. I've said this many times in the past to a lot of people that you definitely make zero money with that. However, you did score a bunch of numbers. Nevertheless, this sort of like full, monthly listeners puts you into this lo-fi elevator category because this was like a heavy drop after they dropped you. But I mean, this is what they've been doing. So it doesn't seem surprising to me that he comes up with that concept. It makes sense. It triggers exactly what you said at the beginning. It triggers the algorithm perfectly. Like this is exactly what the algorithm should be doing. And this is what they did to trigger it because it is what it is. Like the same way that you and me are trying to figure shit out like, oh, how should I call my playlist and where should I advertise it and make sure the SEO is okay and the keywords and the this and that. The same struggle that I'm going through or you're going through to figure that stuff out, they are going through to make their label, because it's a music label that produces money, again, commercial business, to get shit together. Of course, how should I say? Like what triggers all of us is that the blatant way that this occurs. Like this is how you trigger the algorithm. Fucking let's just fucking do it like that. Like, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this. Like in terms of business, then that is actually genius. You figured out a way.
Yeah, you did figure it out.
I mean, what? So 100 times 30. I can't do the maths. That in seconds wise, anyway, how many minutes that is. But let's say it's like a 20-minute album that he's made split into 30-second tracks.
Yeah.
It's absolutely genius, and this isn't actually this is another. Somebody else did it recently outside of this genre, where they did they re-released their either EP or album called the high earning version, and what they've essentially done is just split the EP into 30-second like snippets, and it was like track 1. 0 to 32 seconds, track 1 part 2 32 to blah blah blah, and it's a genius way of making that money. But then when you look at it, is it a moral way?
Exactly. Is it how should I say, is it practical? Yes. Is it immoral or unethical? Also yes, definitely. So but I mean, by now you and me and a lot of other people understand that they don't really have any morals. They don't really give a fuck.
Well, like I said at the beginning, if it was me doing it, I'd be like, yeah, fuck the system. But the fact that it's someone else that did it before me, I'm like, that's genius, and I hate it.
Exactly.
So I'm going to take the stand of like, this is bad and immoral. But along, you've obviously then now, or you will, as something that we were discussing earlier, have copycats. There will be people that will see that this is a viable way of earning quick money.
Yes.
But
and they will do it too.
Yes, but also no. Because we can go back to a previous conversation of lo-fi artists don't have fans. So just to sum it up quite basically. Imagine going through your playlist submissions and you start to get hundreds and hundreds of submissions that are 32 seconds long. Not gonna lie, that would be great just to quickly listen to and think, all right, shall I stick that on my playlist? Yes or no?
Yeah.
In terms of how the lo-fi scene markets its music, which is relying heavily on playlists, those with big playlists aren't going to see a 30-second track as something worth putting on their playlist. Like if I saw it, I'd maybe keep it in mind as a filler. If I, especially for my 30 to 60 second lo-fi playlist. Like if I'm thinking of time, great, that's perfect. I've specifically searched out like 40 to 50 second like interludes to stick into those playlists to buffer it up. But I don't care about those tracks. Like I'm not thinking, this is a great 30-second track.
Nope.
So I think we will see copycats maybe within lo-fi to try and jump on the lo-fi jazz thing, like Fruits Jazz, Strange Jazz, whatever they're calling it.
Definitely.
But I don't think it'll work. It's when those bigger, you know, like I mentioned, the people that split their EP into the high royalty playlist EP.
Yeah.
It's when bigger artists see that and in other genres and they really start taking advantage of that. That's when I think Spotify are going to notice. But yeah,
until that happens, it's going to take a while. It's like it cannot, like, how should I say? To add to what you said about the copycats, the reason why this is not going to work, or it's not going to work to the extent that these people might want to, you know, think that it's going to work, is because Lo-Fi Fruits already has the audience, or let's say they have, like, I think their playlist is even bigger than Lo-Fi Girls now, right? Like it's fucking shit. It's like 10 million people and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people, whatever it is.
Allegedly,
yeah. Whatever it is. So for them, they figure out the whole 30-second algorithm triggering shit. And they have the playlist where, you know, the genre is like you said before, that it depends on the fucking playlist. And they have that. So it's a win-win. Like, we make it, we put it on our playlist, fuck that. It's done. You know, another day in the office, basically. Nothing more, nothing less. And that leaves you and me, sitting there with our dick in our hands trying to figure shit out.
Yeah. Messaging each other at stupid o'clock in the morning, like, I've just figured out. I'm playing around with SVGs. Piss off, Paul. I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Or like me sending you, like, before, like, oh, look at this cool artworks that I found for my playlist, because I don't know, I think my playlist graphics are stupid and they're gay. Nobody likes them. I don't know, man. It's crap. I'm definitely going to be changing things around.
Again, you've only just debated them.
Yeah, I know. But it is what it is. I don't think that there's something fundamentally wrong in the way that ads are being run nowadays. My understanding is that I have a couple of scenarios about that. First one is that because the Zuck is so focused on this fucking meta shit, everybody in the company just went haywire. Nobody gives a fuck about anything. It's like shit is like all over the place. And the other one is that it's just that I think that just people got fed up with ads.
Yeah,
seeing shit like that.
I think competition's too high.
This is something that I cannot really say with a definite yes or no, because for example, like a couple of hours ago, Tulo texted us on Discord. It's like, oh, I see fucking Pueblo Vista ads every day. Kind of cool because I like the ads and whatever. I personally don't see my ads anymore, even though I am targeting myself in the sense of, like, you know, white. Well, you cannot target color, of course, but yeah, male 18 to 44. That's my target group, like male, females 18 to 44, because this is what the data shows me on, you know, Apple Music and Spotify with people listening to the stuff. I mean, I'm 41 and my interests are lo-fi music and chill out and whatnot. So I should be seeing my own ads, which I don't. Maybe this is something good in the sense of, like, you as the advertiser, in a way to potentially reduce scam. But I don't know, why would the advertiser keep clicking on their own ads? At the end of the day, this is costing you money. So it's like, it's a cost per click. So I don't know why I would trigger some sort of bot to click on my ads. It's not going to make my ads more popular if I click on them. It's going to be ending up paying more money. So I find it a bit weird, like, in the sense of, like, I do see the ads because I'm advertising stuff on Instagram stories, Instagram feed, and Instagram feeds, basically.
Yeah. I
do see, because the feed is more or less like a static post that does not appear on your Instagram account feed. I do see a lot of the likes and the comments.
The likes and stuff, yeah.
Which is great. But then again, it's like, what I noticed is, like, there's a lot of people who actually like the feed placements. They click on the feed placements and then nothing happens. Like, there's no proper conversion in the sense of like converting them into playlist folders or something like that. I have been trying for the past, I gotta say, like a week, tracking the streams on the playlist, because maybe you don't follow the playlist, but maybe you play it a couple of times. I don't know, whatever. There has been like some sort of like a slight increase, but nothing otherworldly, which maybe this is a sign that people find the playlist interesting enough to listen to, but not interesting enough to follow. I don't know, really. I don't know. It's just
I am under the impression that competition is way too high. You know, as we know from looking through Facebook's like ad transparency thing, you know, we can see all of the ad. Anyone, if you look for I can't remember what it's called exactly, but you can basically see what ads Facebook pages are running, and you know, we saw from just a couple that we looked at that some labels are putting hundreds of playlists, like ads on 100 ads, or sorry, on
hundreds
one
of ads,
playlist. Yeah, that's what I mean. I can't talk this morning. And I think because again, it's that copycat thing where everyone sees that that's what one person's doing, that's how they got that success. So I'm going to do the same thing. And you know, it doesn't cost a huge amount to even do a very small ad on Instagram. You know, you're not being forced to put in $100. You can do it from like $10, $15, $20 if you want, and get some success from that. But the more that everybody does that, and the longer that everyone keeps targeting those same keywords, the more saturated it will be and the harder it will be to see your ads. And I think that's a good thing about Google, because I'm pretty sure that might be what you'd be going into next, is that, you know, they have their keyword planner where you can go in and just punch in a bunch of keywords related to the ad that you're thinking of running, and it will give you not only an idea of the competition of those ads, but also how much it's going to cost for the bids, and how much, and also suggestions on others. Yeah. So there needs to be something like that for Facebook, I think, or Meta now, whatever they want to call themselves.
Meta.
So, you know, so people can really tune in their advertisements, but at the same time, like I've said to you a million times, go for TikTok. I know you hate it, but I think you should definitely at least try.
No, mate, this is gonna be the next thing that I'm gonna try. Is like, I just try to give the how should I say? I try to. We have an expression in Greek that says, that really translates to, don't put more than one watermelon in your hand, because you won't be able to carry like 5 watermelons at the same time. Okay. I mean, if you get like the baby ones, yeah, sure, but we're talking about the real ones.
If it helps, I think the English expression for that is don't put your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, that also be true. So
culture.
Yeah, no, in the sense of like, you don't want to, it's like, I see it like a war. Like, you don't want to be opening up a lot of fronts at the same time. Like, make sure that, one of the fronts is more or less stable, and then you can move to the other one. The same sense, like, the whole ad perspective is that, like, you see one of your ad sets that, performs well and it's okay. You can decide to, either boost it up a little bit in terms of like budget, or leave it the way it is. And then you can move to the next one. But because I don't really have like a lot of tangible data, I do get like super itchy in the sense of like, a couple of days passed, I get like 3 folders. I'm like, fuck, this ad's not working. I think I'm definitely spoiled with what happened a year and a half ago on ToneDen. When I started like making ads to ToneDen, they had this infamous playbooks. Yeah. Where basically at the end of the day it was like conversion campaigns. Mm-hmm. And shit was going off the rails. Like, in the sense, I remember like the first ads that I threw in, it was like for $10 a day. And for $10 a day, I would get approximately 80 to 100 followers daily. Wow. And this would also translate into streams. Like, in the sense of, there has been, I think I have a screenshot at some point, I'll definitely send it to you, that for the last 28 days period on Spotify, one of my two main playlists would generate a little bit over 200,000 streams. I mean, when it reached already, like, it was like, we were like over like 10, 15K followers. And I was like, fuck, you know, that's great. And then last winter, the whole thing with iOS and privacy came up.
Yeah.
Where basically Tim Cook was like, what's up, Zook? I think you need to sort out your shit. And Zook was like, nah, we're good. And then Tim Cook was like, nah, we're good. No Apple user that gets to see your fucking ads.
Yeah.
And then this really fucked everything up. And I think that was the case where Tonden actually also like lost it in a way, because I was like in discussions with their team of experts.
Yeah.
And I would figure shit out a lot faster than what they would. And then, you know, I would even invite them and say, hey, I can invite you as a partner so you can check my fucking ad account and figure shit out. Like, what do we need to do? And I think like after like a couple of weeks of basically my ads were obliterated, they figured out that, oh, there has to be like a verified subdomain and you need to do this and you need to do that. Yeah. Like a solution that now has been, I wouldn't say circumvented, but it's obsolete now. You don't really need it. It's okay now. But then nothing really works in the sense of like, if I do an ad through Tonden now, it's not going to work. I know it. Like it's shit. Like if now I get like maybe 20, 30 followers a day with this $10 that I put in.
Yeah.
If I do it with Tonden, I'll probably get one, or I won't get anything. Like it would start like the follower count will start dropping. Like literally like the two main playlists that I have now, one of them, I think the bigger one actually stopped generating, that there's no followers in the last 24 hours. And I find it completely weird. Like that's, it's like 23,764 followers. The other one is like, it's going up. Like, I think it's, you know, I check it like every 3 to 4 hours basically. And it's like,
yeah, same.
Yeah. And it's like basically 3-4 followers, more or less. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? Like something's off. So yeah, maybe we should focus into Yahoo ads.
Yeah.
I know a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's so many avenues, at least for advertising. I think Instagram is getting, or at least Facebook ads are just getting overrun with pretty much every Tom, Dick, and Harry throwing their 2 cents in, which, you know, it's fine. There's enough users for everyone, you know.
Yeah.
They have hundreds of thousands of billions of users. So yeah, there's a chance that you will hit someone that finds that interesting, but it's good to look outside the box with stuff. But yeah, like we've discussed previously, maybe playlists aren't the place to be putting your investments, and you just put them into yourself instead.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, stick an ad for your artist page if you have nothing new out, or you know, run a campaign for your new release if you have something new out.
Or if you're one of the lucky ones that has a This Is playlist, throw the money on that ad. Like let people follow that one or whatever. But I think it's a lot safer if, like you said, basically put an ad out that leads directly to your artist, so that, because how should I say? I think we discussed this in the past. It's a lot easier for somebody to unfollow a playlist than unfollow an artist. Because especially when it comes to Spotify, because this is the user interface that a vast majority of listeners and producers and, you know, everybody is familiar with. You see all the playlists that you follow, that you create on your left-hand side on the app. Well, on the desktop app at least. So if this thing gets cluttered, then you might start and say, oh, what is this? Fuck it. Like, you don't see the people or the profiles or the artists that you follow there. So it would make a lot more sense if you push the advertisement towards your artist page or even your profile page where the rest of your playlists are. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to my stuff though, like when it comes to me personally, I find it rather difficult to do it because I'm also running a label, and this is what is unethical to me. Like
Right.
me having all of these releases and spending half of my budget on myself.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, I find it more comfortable to put, money into a playlist or into
Exactly.
an artist release through the label rather than my own stuff. You kind of have
Exactly.
that, like,
I mean, it's like sucking your own dick in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, how bad can it be? But then again, yeah.
Sorry, I was getting a bit cold. A bit chilly.
What the hell? Can you feel it in your bones?
But anyway, on the subject of, because we've kind of gone a mile a minute from this original thing, I wanted to talk about what Amazon have started doing. Let's jump into that.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, for a while now, Amazon has existed as a music platform. You've got Amazon Music. What they haven't necessarily done is really focus that much on artists. They've kind of just had their music platform, and they've asked people to put their music on there, and that's really been it.
Yeah.
Now it seems like they're putting more of a focus on the artist, because for a while they've started doing something called Backstage for Artists, which, well, that's what they call their Spotify for Artists, essentially, equivalent. But in addition to that, they've been, I don't know whether you've been a part of this, Paul, but they've been sending out surveys to to artists if you opt into it.
Yes. Yeah, I got a couple.
And a lot of them are talking about, what could improve the platform for you, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of the options that keeps cropping up is pitching to Amazon's playlist, because guess what? Amazon also has editorial playlists.
Yay!
So this week they essentially unleashed it to the world. If you have music on Amazon Music, download the Backstage app, go on to I think it's Backstage, or I think it's just Amazon for Artists.
It's Amazon for Artists, yeah.
It is, yeah. So go to artist.amazon.com, sign up if you haven't already to claim your artist profile, and then from there you can start pitching to Amazon editorial. And
exactly.
Have you given it a whirl?
No, not yet.
Okay, so I can talk you through it because I have.
Yes, please!
So I found that it was actually way more intuitive than Spotify's pitching process. It's very similar in a sense of you pick your song. First of all, it's not similar to begin with.
Yeah.
They allow you to pitch 14 days after a release.
After the release, yes. Yeah.
So if you've just dropped something and you forgot to pitch it, you can go onto Amazon and it will be there among a few others that you've released within the past, 14 days.
Yeah.
So you can do that, which is good, because not all of us are able to. I mean, some of us might not have been able to have claimed our artist if we're new, so we miss out on that straight away.
Yeah, I mean, life and stuff.
Well, yeah, exactly. So we can do that, which is pretty cool. And then you go through and it's just the same old, like, what's the genre? Already they have a lot of lo-fi ones, which apparently it took Spotify like years to get involved. So you have, your chill beats, lo-fi, hip hop, etc. So already they're a mile ahead there. But what I found was the most interesting is that it asked you what artists you were similar to, as in your opinion, who do you sound like, or who does this song sound like? And I found that quite interesting, because it's, well, first of all, it kind of puts you on the spot, because you're like, oh shit, who do I sound like? So you've got to really like big yourself up and be like, oh, I sound like Jin Sang,
Even of course you do.
So it was interesting to kind of, and again, you can pick anyone that's within the Amazon ecosystem. So, if you find that you have some peers that you talk to, and that you all make similar kind of music, you can say that you sound like them, blah, blah, blah. Then it kind of, I felt like it adjusted the options after the fact based on your previous answers. So it asks you like moods and stuff, or what kind of vibe does your track have, and already the options that I had were very much related to what I'd already told them in terms of like lo-fi beats, chill hop, blah blah blah. And it was very I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, this is like for relaxing and chilling out, or in fact, fuck it, let's go through one because I think you can pitch multiple.
Okay.
So,
I actually fired it up on my browser too.
Okay.
I also need to open up that email from Dashko as well though, because I think there's a direct link from that in that thing.
So yeah, it asks straight away. It asks you why you're pitching the song, so you can fill out your your blurb of why the song is amazing and why they should listen to it. You can pick your genres, which is like, I'm not pitching this. I'm just going to go through. Oh, Japanese hip hop. There you go.
Dude, that's a really dope genre. Like Japanese hip hop is really, really amazing. Even though I like, it makes me want to learn Japanese just to understand what it says. Yeah. Manga has not had that effect on me. Like, make me understand what's happening. Like, I always made fun of Naruto saying "Nande barayo," shit like that. but yeah. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
No, it's cool. And then it jumps into like, tell us a little more. So like, what artists have a similar sound? And you can select up to 3 artists. Where are most of your listeners? Which is an interesting question. And you can only have one selection there.
Yeah.
And then you can choose like the mood. And then because you've selected choose a song category, like chilling out, lounging, happy and upbeat, hard and heavy, work, study, reading. Like, it already kind of knew that's the vibe that I was going for with it. So it gave me those options. And I just thought that it was kind of cool how it kind of dived a bit deeper into I guess the moods and the use case of your track, rather than Spotify's kind of basic, like, oh, pick from 3 moods, and it's like chill, sexy,
yeah.
And it's like, oh.
I mean, it took them a whole fucking minute to add like something like lo-fi or instrumental hip hop or something like that.
Exactly.
It was always like hip hop alternative, which is not correct in sense. Like fucking Tyler the Creator is alternative hip hop. You know what I mean? It's not my fucking beats. Yeah. But yeah. Now I think if the pitching tool, like the way that I haven't had like a release for the past 14 days, like a new one at least, so I don't really see it. Like I tapped on the new releases tab, and there's like a section that says like pitch status, but I don't have any new releases, so I guess maybe it's going to be through there because I don't really see anything else on. There's the profile and tools, claim an artist, programming, voice, fans, song. Yeah.
So you can actually pitch 1 song per release as well.
Yeah.
So in effect, I have 3 tracks, 2 tracks and an EP coming out within the next couple of weeks, and essentially I can pitch a track for each one of those, whereas Spotify limits you to just one.
Yeah.
So far, I mean, it depends on whether it's like successful or not, or actually has anything good going for it. You could really put your stuff out there to Amazon, and then they could start kind of getting ahead of
depends how many white Germans they have in the curation playlists.
Let's not start that.
No, why not? We should because I've had enough of that fucking shit anyway. But yeah, anyway,
someone wants to paint something for us.
What is it? What? Hey there. Is that Purple Nova thing? No.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I'm an album artist, part-time music. Would like to paint a piece for both. Like, what do you want to paint? What do you want to paint, Purple Nova 36?
If we stay really still.
Like, should we stay still for a couple of hours? Like,
yeah.
And you paint us? We paint a portrait? Go ahead, do it.
Yeah.
Whatever. We don't say no.
I mean, in terms of what Lo-Fi Lists are saying, with Spotify being uncomfortable because they ask for instruments, and there's like
a bunch
I don't think that's too bad. Like, that's good because they have a lot of like instrument specific like editorials, and the same with ethnicity as well. Like if you're writing a lot of even like Japanese swinging music, even like India, Spanish swinging music, then that's even better. It kind of narrows your release to a specific culture and ethnicity as well, and you can jump on those playlists. And what's the one that's really popular in the lo-fi scene, isn't it? Road Trip to Tokyo.
Oh yeah, because this is like the this is managed that the curator is actually a Japanese guy.
Yeah,
like it works from Spotify Japan. So anything that I guess sounds
Japanesey. Don't say it.
Let's get canceled. Asian or Oriental. Maybe he picks it up. But I don't know. I mean, I've definitely put out a lot of tracks out there with the titles, Japanese location titles, but I haven't used any Japanese instruments, or have I? But it never got placed on Road Trip to Tokyo. So
yeah, Kyle was right. You can skip them. They are optional. They just help now.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I always take a bunch of. There has been a lot of pitches on Spotify that I would just take the piss, and I would just add all of the instruments. It's like everything is there, man. Xylophone, didgeridoo, guitars, samples, drum kit. Again, what is a drum kit?
Yeah.
It's the drum kit is the actual drums, but I'm not using an actual drum kit to make my shit. I use the drum sample based drum samples.
Yeah. I always put drum kit. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, in the culture, it's a bit weird for me. I always I don't know. I wouldn't say intuitively or instinctively, but I would most of the times just go for Christian and African. But I don't know. But
I've always skipped that because
there shouldn't be any. Yeah, I mean, unless you're really doing some. I think it's labeled world music.
Yeah.
Very ethnic stuff. I understand it, but then I would understand. Maybe the question should be different. Is your music ethnic or not? If yes, then what culture is it under? The way that it's presented now, you see, it says optional, but I had a lot of producers in the past asking me oh, what do you put there? Because, I mean, I'm not going to lie, me initially in the beginning, when I would start submitted music for Spotify, I felt like I had to write something. I had to fill it out somehow, that maybe it was gonna help me get somewhere. Then of course, I found out about all these white Germans, and I was like, fuck it. It doesn't matter what you do.
I think for context, Paul has figured out that there are a lot of the curators of lo-fi beats and chill beats, jazzy vibes, and all of that stuff are white Germans curators. And they this dives into so much conspiracy though. They're only picking other white Germans as well.
Mate, it's not conspiracy. It's the fucking facts. You go out there every other fucking Friday where the editorials are getting updated. The majority of the people are fucking Germans. And I'm sorry to say that, I understand someone trying to support the local scene, but you go in the same blatancy level of lo-fi fruits doing it. Fuck it. Just because, how should I say, if somebody puts me, this should never happen by the way, in a Spotify editorial curation team, whatever, in a lead role, Paul, you take lo-fi beats or whatnot. Does this mean just because I'm Greek, I'm going to go out of my way to promote my fellow Greeks? I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's a question of you just need to put out there not what you think is the best, because this is, again, very biased.
Yeah.
Or not, where your background is, but you should put out there what, for example, the same stuff that we're doing, how should I say, music that I think you should listen to.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you can say, oh, you can, listen to my mate Fritz from fucking Munich who makes the sick beats. No. Because you've been putting your fucking mate Fritz in the fucking editorial playlist for years now. Enough with fucking Fritz. Put somebody else. like fuck that shit. Like I don't understand like the argument of, oh, you know what, we use this in this track and it worked really well and we're like very data driven. No, you're not data driven. You have mates in those fucking labels and you keep pushing their fucking shit there. And that's what you do. Because what we do, you cannot label me the bad guy for fucking signing up with Universal and say, oh, fucking Paul sold out and lo-fi beats is like, fuck, this was always like a DIY genre and now Paul fucked that shit up and got away with millions. And no, because if you thought that, you were, first of all, absolutely wrong. Secondly, whatever the fuck I do it for the benefit of everybody else who's like releasing with us. But you cannot fucking virtue signaling that shit to me and then at the same time, when you were curating a fucking playlist, you would put half a fucking catalog from Vinyl Digital because they're Germans and they're your mates. You know? Go fuck yourself. Because, how should I say, me being Greek, going back to the me being Greek thing, I know a lot about Greek hip hop. I wasn't embedded into it. I know a lot about it. I know a lot of artists who produce instrumental hip hop. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to go out of my way. I wouldn't go out of my way to like, promote that shit. Maybe out of, courtesy of me being Greek, whatever, I would squeeze a couple of more than I should have. But predominantly, when you're curating music, I think, and you would agree with me, like the whole purpose of curating music is like figuring out what will work best on, or who has a lot of potential, or what is like a really good act to follow or whatever. And this is something that should keep, you need to keep refreshing that shit. It's not like just because, how should I say, like because Ed Sheeran is like a really amazing artist, I'm just going to keep fucking charting Ed Sheeran all the time. It doesn't make any sense because, that person reached that level, they don't really need to be discovered anymore. You know what I mean? Like you reach that point of people discover other music through them. You listen to Ed Sheeran or to Dua Lipa or whatever. By the way, all of these are Universal Music artists. You listen to all of them, and then through them, maybe you will listen to something else that, sadly, people label it as, oh, this sounds like or that or whatever.
Yeah.
But and I think that would conclude the rant of my the context of white German music curators. It's just I just find it like completely unethical because you cannot be saying, oh, we're not payola.
Well, no, they're not payola. I mean, someone that knows someone.
But you could have fooled me though. You could have fooled me. You could have fooled me because it's like, fuck it. Like, why would we? I don't know. We have labels and stuff like that, but we don't keep sucking our own dicks and putting like 90% of our playlist is our own fucking releases. I try to keep like a healthy mix, which is like a 50-50. Like half of the shit that I have is from my label, and the other half is like from other labels, from other editorial playlists, other artists, or even all the stuff that I get in submissions from, Daily Playlists, Submit Hub, all that shit.
Yeah.
And I will refresh that stuff every couple of weeks. Because, fuck it. Curation, I don't know.
Yeah, I think...
Anyway, sorry.
I think kind of to play devil's advocate, it must be hard. Let's say, because there is obviously that kind of thing of, does Spotify really pay attention to our pictures, or do they just fall into kind of an empty box or just comes out and falls into a shredder? So let's say, for example, all of the pictures that they get for Lo-Fi Beats goes to the Lo-Fi Beats curator. It must be hard to listen to that much. I'm going to offend absolutely everyone, so let's just fucking do it. Just generic fucking beats. Like... Yeah. There are... And I'm not including myself in that at all. But
me too. Don't include me either.
There are very, very few artists that really stand out at the moment that are doing something genuinely unique and original within the scene. That's definitely not me. But You know, I can imagine it being quite difficult. And I guess when you find that groove of, I know that this label puts out music that I enjoy, then maybe that's kind of what they've fallen into. They're not necessarily favoring their friends, even though the more you kind of get involved with a specific group of people, the more that you will naturally, you know, become close and become friends.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel like maybe that's the case, that, you know, they realize that they dig everything that Vinyl Digital puts out or whatever. So they're just happy to keep farting them on top of the editorials, which, yeah, like you said, it's not necessarily fair. But I can also see that trying to find the diamond in the rough of all of the chill beats that gets released. I mean, we've said this in previous podcasts that, you know, people are releasing there are hundreds and thousands of lo-fi tracks being released
every day.
And imagine having you and maybe 4 or 5 other people have the job of going through each one. And there's only so much you can hear the same stuff over and over again, because that's lo-fi beats for you. It is kind of, it's becoming generic. It's becoming a kind of, you know, if you want some background noise, there you go.
Don't get me wrong. I do understand that. I do understand what you're saying. What's lacking for me is, I'm not disagreeing with you. What's lacking for me is like this being unbiased. From friendships, collabs, like, how should I say? Like, I do it to my own friends. Like, I got a message. Like, I got sent from a couple of messages from Bitmon Noise from Marco. Like the past couple of weeks. Like, he would send me like, oh, here's a new track. Can it find its way through his playlist? And I turn around to my own friend who has released with me and the label, and I said, dude, for playlist considerations, go to Submit Hub. Because I don't want to be doing favors to anybody. Like, I would say, you know, a couple of times, like, yeah, send it over, it's cool, whatever, if I really, really dig it. But then for everything else, you know, I have to draw the line. I'm not being a dick. I don't want to make money out of you. But it's like, I'm trying to be unbiased as much as I can.
This is exactly me as well. Like, I will have people that will come to me with like, oh, I've got a new track that I'm making that I want to submit to your label. Like, what, like, I'm just working on it now. Like, what do you think? And I straight up just like, I'm not going to listen to it.
No.
Don't send it to me. I'm not going to listen to it. Like, one artist that was submitting to us, they put their like work in progress on their stories and tagged me in it. And I was like, you're making it really hard for me to be unbiased here. And bless them, they took it down, even though I was kind of like being a bit tongue in cheek with them. I wasn't being serious, like, oh, take that shit down. I don't want to hear it. But, you know, I was just joking. I was like, you know, I'm trying to be unbiased and you're making it bloody hard to do that.
Exactly.
You know, and again, I'm not saying don't share your work in progress and tag the label or myself in that. It's cool to see that you're actively working on music for our labels. That's the whole reason why, why we're doing this. But when people come to us being like, oh, I've just like, have you put your track on my track on your playlist, or, you know, or I've released with you, we're quite close, I've got a new release, stick it on your playlist sort of thing. And it's difficult because you know, like you said, you want to remain as unbiased as possible. You want to be able to not look like you're just, you know, putting your friends on a pedestal.
Exactly. I mean, it's not just being unbiased. Like, it's a form of professionalism. You're the professional here. You gotta keep professional, whatever. Like, what we do, you know, outside this, like, you know, we go hang out, drink beers and whatever, play pool and whatnot. This is cool. But when it comes to specific assets of let's say our day-to-day, there are some rules and some regulations. And part of it is like me being an unbiased prick, saying like, you know what, Aaron, you want to submit a track? Go to the fucking submission form, or go to the fucking Submit Hub. That's it, mate. That's that. Like, because it's like, I can't be preaching something and not living by it. It's stupid. But it definitely, the whole genre. I don't know. It got me thinking. Like, I got a couple of messages over last week and through last week where some like a couple of people reach out to me and say, hey, you know what, like I really liked your the podcast that you guys are putting out, and I can relate to this and I can relate to that. There's a lot of issues. A lot of people agreed with, you know, our take that this is becoming more and more of a profession, but it like a very, but closer to a very boring job, you know, like a job that you don't really like anymore, but you need to keep doing it for the money or whatever. And there's a lot of people that, including me and you, that we don't even listen to lo-fi shit anymore, like on the side. Like,
well, this is
just,
what I was going to move into. Right?
Yeah,
the message that you received earlier this week, like
yeah, like it's, and I wouldn't say that I find it sad. I find it. I think it's the natural evolution of things. Like eventually, you're into something so much. Like you've invested so much time, so much effort, energy, money. You know, that fucking shit that we do has ruined relationships. It's actually I was having a conversation with my wife last week, in the sense of like she saw the pictures that I posted, like the stories that I posted on Instagram and stuff, like, oh, about depression and shit. It's like, yeah, that shit is real. Like and she's like, oh, I didn't know like it was like that hard for me that you get triggered, because she's been hearing what I've been listening the past week, like all this Linkin Park, you know, hip hop, metal, angry teenager shit. And she was like, that's not usually the music that comes out of the room. Like, you know, this room like usually generates more mellow vibes and stuff. And I was like, I said, I've probably been depressed after the very first week I started making music. Like this is like back in, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s. Because it's like, that's the major, I mean, depression or anxiety is the number one, is the first thing that you have to face as a creative, I think. Not just as a musician, because, you know, music is an art form that can reach, you know, has the potential to reach more people, especially now, you know, with internet and all that stuff, than somebody doing something else, like sculpturing, for example. It's not, yeah, of course, a picture is easier, but the music is, you can digest music a lot faster than, you know, a sculpture. It would make sense if you actually see the sculpture. But anyway, so I said I probably, you know, was depressed and anxiety for decades. But it's just, you know, eventually it just bottled up, and it is bottled up, and then you just need a trigger. And for me, that trigger was fucking listening to Linkin Park in the end. So yeah.
I think this is what we wanted to move into as well, like kind of talking about mental health stuff, because you know, it's that what's happening at the minute. And just to quickly kind of agree with what you were saying about you know, being so heavily involved within a genre that you kind of get sick of it. You know, my wife as well pointed out, she was like, the music that you're, because I have a thing that posts what I've listened to every week on Twitter. It posts like the top albums.
Yeah.
And she was like, that's not you. Like,
yeah,
you don't listen to that stuff. That's not really like familiar to you. And I was like, I looked at it and I just was like, yeah, it isn't. Like I've always enjoyed lo-fi. I've always enjoyed having it as part of the music that I listen to. But then getting so kind of caught up in it, I realized that the music that I genuinely like love to my core is kind of being drowned out, because I've positioned myself in a way of like, you know, being supportive of other artists and being happy to just follow everyone on Spotify and you know, pre-save their stuff and really get involved in liking that music. And this is I mean this of no disrespect to anyone that I talk to and interact with on Instagram and have worked with, like you yourself and loads of other artists as well. Like this is, I don't dislike them and their music, because I enjoy it, but lo-fi is just a part of what I enjoy in music. And going you know, going through my Spotify and you know, that now on the mobile it shows you like new releases, it was just lo-fi track after lo-fi track after lo-fi track, and I was like, the music that I'm enjoying isn't here anymore.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much of it. And, you know, I like the message that you received earlier this week. I just went through my Spotify, I think about 2 weeks ago, and I just unfollowed all of the artists that I didn't genuinely 100% want to hear their stuff. Like, I'll happily go and see what people have posted new and just jump on that and listen to it, you know, through what they've shared on Instagram and stuff. Like, oh, this person's got a new track, let's check it out. But at this point, I've got to a point where I just don't want that in my daily rotation, like being forced upon me, because I've followed so many different artists and stuff. And I think for the first time in such a long time, my release radar was back to being what I felt was more me. There was some lo-fi in that. I don't mind. You know, it worked with everything else that I listened to. You know, there was a new Can't Swim. Like, you know, Limp Bizkit's just dropped their album today. Just all this new stuff that I had missed because it was just being drowned out by, you know, the Chill Selects and the Chill Moon Musics releasing thousands of singles every day, every week. And, you know, it's, in a way, that was part of me kind of feeling a bit sad about how music is going for me as well, like music listening, because I wasn't hearing bands that I genuinely loved anymore because it was being drowned out. But yeah, on the topic of mental health, it is mental health is it Mental Health Awareness Month, or is it week, or is it just a time of recognition
and reflect?
But yeah, it's time to get serious. You know, there are it can be difficult for people, and
it's mental health awareness month.
Oh, okay, so whole month. Great.
In the United States, though, not here. I mean, that's what Google says. Mental Health Awareness Month 2022 in United States will begin on. No, it says on Sunday, 1st of May. Okay.
Hold on. There's something going on.
What? I mean, it's Spotify had this sort of like mental health week or something. I mean, Spotify had it. So, I mean, we're doing this just to be relatable, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But no.
But I mean, you're in a place, as you mentioned, this week specifically.
I've been in a tremendous place. My nipples are getting very, very sensitive and stuff. I feel like crying all the time.
you just turn it into this like let's brush it off, let's joke. That's the problem.
Exactly. That's it. Like I this is like bad humor is my defense mechanism. Of coping that shit. Like I just take the piss out of myself a lot to make it not. I mean, I kind of like make it not sounding such a big deal, but it is. But I don't know. I guess there's like the reason why I do it is to have a little bit of lightness in the approach, in the sense of like that shit can put you in a really bad place, in a really dark place. Like even now, like just thinking about it, I feel like the waterworks are coming up. But it's better if you kind of like, if you can find a way to cope with it. For me, it's I'm just taking the piss on myself, or I'm just trying to add like some silly joke around it, because as easy it is, like to me again, as a personal experience, as easy it is to get deep into the rabbit hole, it's also easy to get out of it. You just need to find a way. Basically, channel all that bad energy into generating something new, like the phoenix coming out of the ashes, or like a flower growing through a piece of shit. I mean, shit is good; it's fertilizer, so it's not really, necessarily bad. But that's I guess the vibe. But it's just like for me, I think this week has been. Well, it started I think from the last one. It's like I think it's a combination of things. There's a lot of stress that is being released, in the sense of like I'm being relieved of all this stress that's been piling up. Mm-hmm. Because, for example, at work, I'm stressed a little bit at work because there was like a huge load of work that had to be done, and it has been delivered. So it's more of like a, I'm glad this is over, because in my line of work, when it comes to brand design and stuff, it's like the work usually comes into chunks. So there could be like some weeks that I might be doing very basic duties of producing like ad banners or making some updates or some illustration or whatever. And there's like the other weeks, like it's like all hell breaks loose, and it has to be like 1,000 pages need to be ready for all different versions and resolutions and screens and blah 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 blah. So it's like it goes bananas. And for me at the same time, I have this. There was this whole Universal Music thing that it's finally drawing into a happy divorce, an amicable divorce, instead of a bad breakup. Going back to distribution, to normal distribution. So, like I said in the beginning earlier, like some sense of normality is going to come back. On top of that stuff, what I also shared with you privately is like, we have a little fucking monster in the house. So she's going through this phase of no and denial and crying and bitching and stuff like that. But she's a little princess, so it's okay. Even though today I just felt like that was a bad idea. But it's one of these ideas that, walks around, takes shits, talks to you, gives you hugs and kisses, which is great. And there's been all this stuff. And for me, like going to the gym, this is like my safe space where I gather more dopamine, and I get all these happy hormones back and whatever. So this created like an interesting equilibrium, me being there to get happy and at the same time listening to stuff that I grew up with, like Linkin Park and all that shit. And it's like brought back all this like nostalgia and reminiscent of time. And then you're thinking like, oh, I'm getting older and this and that. So it's like, you can figure out more or less the train of thought. And it's just, after a point, it just becomes a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no fucking way. You're like fucking there, like pulling the weights and trying not to cry at the same time. While you're listening to somebody who, basically committed suicide because of mental health issues. Yeah. And then you're paying attention to the lyrics and you're like, that dude has been thinking about his problems for years. And he only came out with that stuff like recently, and then he just popped himself. Well, offed himself. And you're like, fuck. And this is like really sad shit. Especially thinking about, being a parent or whatever. Like the guy has like 7 kids or some shit like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's been my last couple of weeks.
Yeah. I mean, not necessarily as extreme as yours, but like, I went through a super bad patch probably a couple of years ago now. Well, yeah. Well, like I was heavily involved in, I guess, an industry that I didn't really want to be in before really diving into music. I very much jumped on, I had a gaming publication, gaming and like nerd culture. We wrote about video games, comics, films, blah, blah, blah. And, as it started to get a bit more, I guess, big in a sense, the workload started to like pile up because that industry moves along way quicker than anything I've ever seen in my life. And if you're not on the pulse, you will miss out. You will literally miss the train. If you're not there at the time, at the door, you've missed it. So I found myself, because in that industry you had a 2 p.m. announcement window and a 6 p.m. announcement window. This is like UK time.
Yeah.
The 2 p.m. one that hit mostly because of like the East Coast Yeah, the East Coast of the US. So, that would be there for their morning. And then there's the 6 p.m. one, which would be the West Coast.
West Coast.
So I found myself not necessarily having time to live. I was just constantly refreshing my like newsfeed thing, making sure that, I would get emails hourly, every half an hour of something new from some sort of like gaming PR company or like publisher. And I felt like I couldn't rest, because if I didn't say something about this or write something about this or do something, then we would miss the boat, and we'd be behind. And even though at that point we had a small team of other writers, they prioritized their lives, which is absolutely fine. But at the time, I was finding that frustrating as well. I'm like, I've got all these fucking people that are meant to be fucking writing for me. Why aren't they fucking doing anything? And I was just this little ball of rage. And my relationship was suffering, my mental health was suffering, everything was just getting too much. And at the time, we were living in a property that was essentially just taking all of our money anyway. We were kind of forced into a place that we could only just afford. So there was a lot of financial things happening there as well. And having the dream of pushing this website that I had to do more for us, so we could live better, was always there as well. So my living situation was getting me down, my work situation was getting me down. I was just in a really just dark place until one day I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I made the decision to like take a couple of months off and just left the site in the hands of the other people that were working there. And I kind of just put it to the back of my mind, tried to ignore everything that was going on. I turned my emails off. I deleted the app that I used to check the news. And I just lived. And that's when I started getting more into actually creating music. And I created my first, like, I guess, lo-fi beat back then. I think this was like early to mid 2019. And I realized that I didn't need to be in that position. I didn't need to do what I was doing with that. I didn't need to push myself to the brink of like just being completely absorbed in this world that I didn't really want to be a part of anyway. I grew up with video games, but not to a point where video games were like my life. I played like a couple of things. It was always a kind of running joke between the team that I didn't play games because, I'd only ever played the first Super Mario. I didn't play every single one of them. I never really played a Zelda game, and that was a big issue. All of these big sort of mainstream game franchises I'd never really been a part of. The only thing I was really into was Call of Duty, because that's what me and my wife, we play that together a lot. That's a big bonding thing for us. And that was all being overshadowed by making sure that I was playing the latest games. And, that again, there was so many facets to this website that I had that, looking back, it's like, why did I do that? And like you said, for you it was going to the gym and working out and finding that joy there. For me, it was what was always there, which was music. I pushed that to the back as well, and getting more into making music and playing music, and I guess finding a genre that I could easily fall into with lo-fi stuff and get some joy out of that. And that's kind of really what helped. And music kind of pulled me out of that dark place and really made me realize that I don't have to be in a toxic environment. And sometimes you do kind of just have to take that time to step back and forget about chasing whatever you're chasing. I think that's kind of the big thing. Is obviously you can't avoid like the stress and stuff that you spoke about, but for those that are like getting down because they're chasing numbers that they don't seem to be able to achieve, or for those that are really trying to you have these like motivational speakers that are like, yeah, even if you're getting nowhere, just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Grinding,
Yeah, but that can burn you out.
Exactly.
And you know, the burnout is real, and I think first and foremost, you should always be putting yourself first, yourself and your family, people that you want to you know, hold up, and not necessarily put such a focus on whether it's making money, whether it's making big numbers with music, whether it's whatever, you know, like you've said a number of times, that's not going to be there when you die. Like, it's not going to be useful.
No,
it's only temporary. But the feelings that you get, the emotions, the connections that you make with actual human beings, that's kind of as permanent as it can be, I guess, until they're not there anymore. But
that's the most important. That's the most important thing. Like it's basically, I think that for me, how I decoded it is that the main reason that a lot of people are coming forward now and talking about mental health issues, especially, you know, the vast majority of that is like, it's depression, anxiety. These are things that are the reason I think why I believe what we're talking about more and more about mental health now is because finally our evolution as a species and our technical evolution as a species has caught up with our physical evolution. What I'm saying is that our brain is not made for all this information. It's impossible for the human brain in 2021 to be able to store, appropriately file, organize, compartmentalize all the shit that we are exposed to. And we're talking about countless miles and miles of feeds of different people. Like, I think before the internet came into our lives as a species, you were aware that, you know, there's other countries, there's other people, like there's millions of us out there. But you didn't necessarily understand the concept. You were aware of everybody else's existence, but you didn't know how many of these people are there and how they pass their days. Now you go to TikTok, to Instagram, like you see all this fucking shit. You tap into the personal world of all these people, and there's all this information and YouTube videos and playlists and advertisement and this, that eventually your brain just farts. This is what happens. Like, it's a brain fart, what we're experiencing. It might, I mean, I don't want to sound like, you know, a basic idiot here and say that, oh, Paul is just called depression a fart. But to put it that way, I'm just gonna play on that thought, is like, the reason why I also, you know, say my stories, and when I talk to people, I say, you know, talk to somebody, you need to, you know, let it out, is that it is like a fart, in the sense of like there's more space outside than inside. So I think this is what people say, like, don't keep it inside of you, it's not good. It's like, imagine you holding a fart for like a month. There's definitely some health implications that will come with it. You know, holding gas that is supposed to be expelled from your body for a month, like it's not healthy. Or trying to hold your pee-pee or your caca, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, this is what depression is. Like, it's a bad thing, like it's an evil thing, like caca, you know, you just need to this has to be excreted from your organism in a way. So imagine keeping it in for like a month, like something bad is going to happen. So, you know, in that case, it's not going to happen in your anus with depression and anxiety. It happens to your brain, which is no bueno. So that's why I think we're talking about all that stuff and we're experiencing that shit, because there's like so much information, and there's also like a lot of desperation from people to get acknowledged in what they do. Like, I love how things used to work like 20 years ago, in the sense of like, you know, there was no Spotify, there was no streaming, no YouTube, no whatever. When I was DJing back then, in order for me to get the freshest tunes into my audience, it meant I had to spend a good part of my weekend, especially on Saturday morning. I would, take the bus from my house, go to the city center, and go through 3 or 4 different record stores, dig through their fucking vinyl to find that track. That usually is like, back in the day when I used to DJ US house, which, back in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, like the only way for you to obtain house music from the States would have meant that somebody should have imported it.
Yeah.
That's why you had all these big distribution companies like that they would physically distribute the music. And depending on the label you were signed in, they would have a specific physical distributor, and your music would have gotten distributed in Germany and France and Italy, but not in Greece. Or in the US and Canada, but not in Italy, or shit like that. So and all the record stores, they wouldn't have like, countless of copies. It would be like 2 copies of Aretha Franklin's Frankie Knuckles remix. You had one, and another DJ in the city had the other one. And the only way that people could listen to that shit, they would have to go to your gig or to the other guy's gig. And that was it. And that's what made the whole thing special, back in the day, like, because DJing is also like a form of curating music.
Yeah.
So, fast forward now, it's like, fuck my life. It's like, it's impossible for me to, let's go back to what you said before, like, to be a little bit of a devil's advocate to all these, white German curators. Like, there's only that much music they can listen to. I understand it. It's physically impossible to listen through, 2,000 submitted tracks.
Yeah.
On a weekly basis, like even if somebody tells you like, yeah, but I'm not going to be as oblivious and say, yeah, but this is your job, bro. You should no. I don't expect this from anyone. Like even if that's their job, like there's exactly what I'm saying before. There's limit to the human brain capacity. Like you cannot be listening to music 24/7, figuring out what the best trends would be without. This is going to have this is going to cost. This has a toll to your brain, to the way you think. Because, like I said in the beginning, and to wrap it up, I think that's the biggest issue. What we all are faced now is like your brain, my brain, is not meant to digest all this information.
Yeah.
Like our brains are very primitive. Like they're a little bit more evolved than the fucking animals who just eat, kill, fuck, sleep. The base what we call instinct for animals.
Yeah.
Like it differentiates us because we have thumbs, we have opposable thumbs. We can talk to each other instead of fucking growl, even though there was a point where we would just make sounds to each other, But it took us like, and I really love this, it took us billions of years to come up with that.
Yeah.
Billions of years to come up with that. And it only took us like 30 years to basically feel all the negative effect of that fucking shit.
Yeah, exactly. No, I guess in this information age, there's just so much to take in. We're being exposed to like political opinions and political movements and even racial movements that we wouldn't have necessarily have been subjected to, back in the 90s and early 2000s. People are speaking, like with Twitter and TikTok and stuff, people have more of a platform to share their thoughts and opinions about, racial injustice or, women being like murdered and shit by cops and stuff. And it's just there's just so much shit that
there's so much shit
there's just so much stuff that's like shitting on your face at the moment that sometimes even just there's that term that's been added to the dictionary now, isn't there, that it's called doom scrolling, where you're just looking through just shit after shit that's happening across the world, because we now have free access to all of that information. If you want to find out what's the latest headlines in Japan, you can do that within
Exactly.
with 2 clicks. If you want to find out
Yeah.
the latest news in Brazil, in Argentina, in Africa, in Australia, you can do that. It might not necessarily matter to you or you know, make much of a difference, but you can still absorb all of that information. And like you said, there's only so much that we can take in our small primitive brain.
Yeah.
But I think it's time that we need to. You should take time to kind of reflect and
basically, step off the gas a little bit. You need to step off the gas. Not necessarily. You don't have to hit the brakes. Just step off the gas. Like it's really difficult. Like, it might sound as a cliche, but when people say, put your phone down and this and that, I don't know. I wouldn't say put your phone down because it's your phone. Like it has become, whether we like it or not, it has become an extension of our hands. But use your phone to, I don't know. You can say, I'm going to use my phone when I go to the toilet. I mean, maybe you're going to take like really long shits, but at least it's going to be, there's going to be some sort of like a reasoning behind why you're using your phone in the toilet. Or, I mean, I guess a good rule of thumb is like when your feet start to numb, I think it's a good, it's a good time to get the fuck up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, it does sound cliche, but you need to like go back to the time, before the phones, before this, before that, like disconnect. But I understand that the difficulty of that is like, if you're doing something like we do, like you put out music or you're like a label manager or what, like you feel like, oh my God, if I stop, like, oh my God, everything's going to go to shit.
Yeah.
So what? Like, what is like, for me, like, this is the realization that I came to years ago. Is like, what would be better if to go to shit? Pueblo Vista or my brain?
Yeah.
Pueblo Vista. Fuck it.
No,
like,
that's exactly the decision that I made. Like, what do I want?
Fuck it.
Do I want my life, my brain, and my relationship to suffer because of what? Because I want, I want those 20,000 like viewers that we get to read about the latest Ubisoft announcement. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme.
No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't.
Because in the middle of the week,
there's going to be something else. And this is what we've been discussing a lot as well. And, when it comes to the lo-fi drama and all that shit, like it's after a week, it's yesterday's jam, man. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. Like our attention span has become a little bit worse than a fucking goldfish.
Yeah, 100%. Because there's just so much content to consume as well. Like, even outside of music, there's, you can go to Instagram, scroll. Like you were saying about TikTok, you can get lost on that for hours because there's just so much shit. Yeah. And it's like, it's comprised, 95% of that is comprised from people who really are frustrated and they want to get out there and get recognition. So it's like, it's a whole vicious circle. That instant gratification, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, I do understand that there's been a lot of researches and stuff that have proven that you get this sort of like dopamine injections every time you get likes and shit like that. Now there's like a scientific connection between the fucking like and something else. But there has to be other stuff that can provide you this, not your fucking mobile phone. I think like nowadays I definitely on my mobile phone, I definitely have the same screen time that I had previously in the past. However, I use it with my phone watching Netflix basically, or stuff that I have on Plex on my movie database or whatnot, or playing fucking games.
Yeah. And
I play this one fucking game as well.
What are you playing?
Dude. I'm a douche. I'm an idiot. My brain's so fucked up. Score Match. It's a football game, which basically is like you don't control anything in the sense of like,
Football Manager.
Yes and no. Like it is an actual football match, but you just pass the ball and shoot. Like the players decide to move or do stuff on their own free accord, depending on their position that they are in the stats. So the only thing to do is like you pass the ball to one of the dudes, he dribbles or whatever, and then it reaches a point where now you need to decide within, I don't know, I think it's like 6 seconds or something, to pass the ball or to shoot it or whatnot. So, and if you miss the chance, then possession changes. And I've been playing that shit, I don't know, like I downloaded like a year ago and I was like, you know, it's okay. And now I think I've clocked, I've played, because you play with other players, so it's like a PvP thing, which is great. I've played 6,217 games.
Wow.
The game ends if you score 2 goals, or if after 2 minutes of gameplay with stoppage goes to penalty shootout. So 6,000 times 2, that's like 12,000 minutes.
Yeah.
How many hours is that? Calculator, computer, please calculate.
720,000 hours.
12,000 minutes divided by 60?
Oh,
no,
wait,
man.
yeah, I timed it.
You idiot. You basic
I can't
idiot.
do maths. I cannot
2
do
plus,
maths.
2 plus 2 quick maths, bro.
Yeah, no, I can't do maths at all.
So that's 200 hours. So basically, I clocked like, what is it? If I divide this with 24, oh, it's only been a week. That's not bad, actually.
Yeah, but you think about a week solidly playing.
Dude, a week solidly playing this will cure my fucking depression. Will cure my fucking depression and anxiety. Honestly, I shit you not. Because I go into this thing and my brain just numbs the fuck out.
Yeah.
It just numbs, and I'm just the guy who kicks the ball. And I absolutely fucking love it because I'm not really controlling it. Like the controls are minimized to the, you know, passing and shooting. I just need to aim with my finger, more or less, in a semi 3D environment. So I'm going to put it also in the chat. I invite everybody to come here. Score, match, download the fucking thing. You can connect with Facebook friends. And the good thing is that if one of your friends on Facebook plays that match as well, you can have them in your roster.
Oh,
and
shit.
What's really good with me, having my own player, because you have like your own player as well, is like I'm level 10, which is like I'm maxed out in terms of like stats. So if you're starting up and you have me to play with you, you're going to be kicking ass if you put me on offense, basically. So yeah, please join me. I don't, you know, there's no affiliation with them. I don't promote them or it's not a paid thing. I don't have any friends.
I guarantee there's a referral link that you could use.
No, well, there has to be one, but it's like, that'd be interesting.
No, we've started playing Rocket League again recently. We've been playing that on the Switch, so that's been quite fun. Okay.
Yeah, Rocket League, that's one of the things that I'm like very sad about is that my waifu is not so computer game, you know, connected or related. Like I have tried to play with her. I do have a Wii console, so I tried some very basic, a basic thing like, you know, tennis or bowling stuff. And that's not it. Like we don't like, you know, starting from the very basic graphics, you know, stuff like that. I have a Quest 2, but this would be impossible for her. Like we tried it. She's like she has a fear of heights. I do too, but her like on hers like crazy.
Someone's at the door. I'll be back.
Okay, it's Amazon.
I got it.
Oh crap. Oh, gets darker in here. Fuck. There we go.
I think. Hello.
Hello.
Hold on, I'm here somewhere.
Was it Amazon?
It was the froggy hat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That thing where deliveries happen on Sundays in the UK. This is like,
Yeah.
wow.
The strangest thing today, though, we got a Royal Mail delivery as well.
Oh.
They'd never deliver on Sundays.
Yeah.
So I've had like one Amazon delivery which was before 1 p.m, another Amazon delivery which was before 7, and then one that was before 10. Sundays. But yeah.
Nice.
Video games and stuff. Do you know what?
Yeah.
It's been a week. I've been going out on my bike a bit more, and it's been going. I'm so unfit.
Well.
But yeah, I think it's time that we should wrap up. Oh, hello, Missy. You just come barge in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been 2 hours already, right? Yeah. I think we covered a lot of ground. For like, I think this was one of the less organized podcasts, which I don't mind. Like in the sense, like, we really didn't have like any specific topics. We just, let's go for it.
Oh, I tried. I do have a notepad.
Oh, you're such a nice person. I'm just a douchebag. I don't know. I just go as I please. I don't even care.
I was more excited to use all of the new junk that we'd got, but apparently no. Just default back to the fucking.
No, I guess it's gonna be like next week.
Maybe.
We can,
I'll try and. I need to have a look at a cable to see whether that actually makes any difference. If it doesn't, then.
Mate, I told you, like, I sent you the ones that I'm using. You can use that, and.
I looked for that one, but it was very. I think that was Austrian specific.
Okay, maybe there's gonna be like a similar one. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Wait,
cool.
I might have to use this. This might be what I need. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Podcast. That was been fun.
Yeah. So I guess it was good. See you guys. See you. Like, there's been it was the same numbers. Like 6 more people like still watching, which is great.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thank you for joining us once again. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Even though I did have some requests from people, like there's people who want that kind of shit like weekly, and I said this is something that it needs to be discussed because mental health and everything and all that. It's like we got stuff to do. It's okay.
I mean,
Until Spotify.
I have like one day of a weekend to myself now.
Exactly. So I think we'll figure it out eventually. But we're not stressed anyway. I think that's a good thing. One show every couple of weeks is great. So we have at least enough topics to talk about. Otherwise, be sitting here like doing nothing. So it's been great. It's been great. And we'll see you all guys in a couple of weeks' time. And until then, everything else on all the other social media platforms and YouTube and blah blah blah. And that's that. Yeah.
Have a good.
Have a good rest of the Sunday.
Yeah, or weekend. Whenever you're listening to this, have a good day.
Have a good day. Ta-ta!
Ta-ra, pet.